Temperatures are in the mid-70s today in Austin, but nothing in this city is as hot as the Texas Bats. With 37 hits and 27 runs in the last 2 games, the Texas offense looks to keep rolling today at the dish. The Minnesota Golden Gophers are back for Game 2 of the 4-game set, hoping to cool that Texas offense off. It's the Gophers and Horns. Game 2 is next. Welcome, a beautiful day. Let's go ahead and play 2. Temperatures right now in Minnesota are at 19 degrees. A little bit better here in Austin in the upper 70s. We expect a good crowd as we've got 2 9-inning games. Game 2 of the 4-game set is coming up. Inside the booth here, Kevin Dunn alongside 3-time All-American Keith Moreland. Keith, from 73 to 75, you guys had some dynamic offenses. It's been a little while since we've seen that on the 40 acres, but it looks like they may have the lineup this year.
Well, let's start at this point. They have an OPS as a team now, folks, of 842. You start there. You have 4 guys in the lineup above 600 in slugging percentage. That's what leads to good offensive baseball, and it's across the board, from top to bottom, everybody getting involved. And did a nice job of setting the table and then clearing the table last night. A lot of extra base hits with men in scoring position. It has led to an outburst that we haven't seen around here on the 40 acres in a long time. 37 hits in the last 2 ball games.
Yeah, nobody wants to pitch to this lineup right now, but if Minnesota's going to throw someone out there, it should be Dalton Sawyer. And you've talked to pro scouts. They are aware of this young man.
Oh, they are aware of him. He's a 6'5" junior left-hander. He's got the ability to have really good stuff. He's got a good fastball. He moves it in and out. He's got to be able to pitch ahead in the count. He was 1 pitch away from really pitching extremely well in Houston against a very good team in the Houston Cougars last weekend. He made 1 mistake, 3-run homer, get you beat.
Yeah, we'll see if he makes any mistakes today, as this Texas lineup has been punishing mistakes, and the defense has been pretty good as well. Starting lineup, starting pitchers, and we're going to play some ball when we get back.
Texas Baseball on Longhorn Network is brought to you by American Campus Communities, where students love living. Reserve your housing online today at livewc.com.
Postseason type atmosphere outside with the tailgating and obviously with the basketball game going on across I-35. A lot of excitement here on the 40 acres as we get ready for Game 2 between Texas and Minnesota. Minnesota is coached by John Anderson. He's in his 34th year, 10th all-time of D1 coaches in wins. We take a look at his lineup. They need to get hot. They're hitting 197 as a club, but you think Michael Handel's a guy who needs to get it going.
Well, he is. He led the team last year in slugging. He's only hitting 200 at this point, but he is the inspirational leader. Not only is he the emotional leader and the actual vocal leader of the team, but he has to perform. For this team to go where they want to go and try to win the Big Ten Conference, he's got to be the guy that gets it going. He's been off to a slow start. They have struggled offensively, and that's a little bit unusual. A lot of teams, as we talked about in last night's broadcast, when they come out of the North, one of the things they can do and do very well is swing the bat. And they're going to get an opportunity today to face Josh Sawyer, the Texas left-hander. Boy, I tell you what, you can't help but like the way in the frame and what this guy does. He is a loose left-hander, as I call him. Very loose motion. Ball jumps out of his hands. He's got a pitch for strike. I'm going to watch his mound presence today.
Okay.
See how he reacts. I mean, sometimes as a pitcher, you can take control of a game with your mental approach. He threw strikes, pitched pretty well at Rice, but he was trying to improve on his mound presence last weekend down in Houston.
Let's see if he can do that, and obviously be looking at first pitch strikes as Dan Modi will lead it off. Underway with the strike. Modi, a good athlete, center fielder. It's a pretty physical club. Keith mentioned that yesterday, and Modi fits in there, 6'2", 185. Facing the sophomore, Josh Sawyer, 6'2", 190-pounder. He's from San Angelo, went to San Angelo Central High.
A little bit different look in the lineup as you talked about for Texas defensively, as Cantu at first now and Barrera behind the plate. You know, I think you're going to see that for a while. You're going to see those 2 guys alternate. Trace, veteran catcher, really handles the game, calls the game. And at this point, looks to be a fairly small strike zone. Last night was a small strike zone. It was that way for both sides.
The appeal.
You've got to understand as a hitter and a pitcher what the strike zone is when it gets established. Stay within that framework.
Total swings through that. 3-2. You like Sawyer's hard breaking ball.
I think that's his best pitch. I think that's his bread and butter when he needs to get somebody out. That's what he goes to. But to use that pitch, Kevin, as we open the broadcast, to tell you, you got to be able to be ahead. You got to use that pitch as your put-away pitch.
Three-two, and he blows it by him. That did jump out of his hand.
Well, I like that. It took a nice deep breath, got the sign from Barrera, reached back. There's nothing fancy about baseball sometimes. 3-2, first hitter of the game. Hey, here's my fastball. Can you catch up to it?
Modal could not, so he's down on strikes. That brings up Connor Schaefbauer.
That's the pitch that is his put-away pitch. Good-looking breaking ball right there.
Lefty, that just tied up Schaefbauer, junior from Sioux Falls, Minnesota. Another one, and changed the part of the plate and caught the plate.
Right. When you get an opportunity to see the center field camera when it comes in, it changes planes. We'll show you what we're talking about. Here comes the 0-2 delivery.
It's in.
Fastball hit him off the hands. They're going to call it a foul ball at the plate.
Yes, they are.
That hurt. See it come in. Caught him on the backside.
Let's listen.
Opportunities. That sounds like bad. It really does.
Well, if it's not bad, he's got a broken hand.
Well, he's got a tough bone there.
Right.
Great job on the sound right there.
Yeah.
Slow it down right here and look again. And just as it's coming in, yeah, it might have caught him off of the bone of that right hand, but it sounded like it was the knob. Fastball in, breaking ball away. That's what I would be thinking.
Goes with the breaking ball. He chases it, and 2 strikeouts for Josh Sawyer. And both of them, he got the first pitch strike.
Yeah, he gets ahead, but he comes back. The first one is the 3-2 fastball. This is a knee buckler right here over the top with the breaking ball. That's what you got to do, bounce it. Way out in front. Nice job by Barrera to knock it down. 2-3 on the putout.
Matt Fiedler. Next ball 1. Fiedler, sophomore. Not as big as some of the guys in the lineup, but I really like his offensive potential. They feel like this club's going to swing eventually, Keith.
And I do too. I mean, when you look at their numbers, they brought in some young guys that they really felt like could help them. And again, they're very physical. Watching them take BP, the ball jumps off their bat. They're going to be very competitive in the Big Ten.
Marlowe ranges to his left, makes it look easy, and 1, 2, 3 for Josh Sawyer in the first. I'll give you the Texas lineup when we get back.
Stay connected to the proud history of Texas.
Welcome back. We head to the bottom of the first inning. Josh Sawyer got the Gophers to go 1, 2, 3 in the top half of the frame. Texas is coached by the winningest coach in Division I baseball in any division. That would be Augie Garrido. Texas is ranked 4-2, and offense has been the story in the identity of this team early on. You look at the lineup, we could really pick out anyone, but you want to go with Trace Barrera, and I understand why.
Well, you just look at his numbers, folks. You just can't imagine what kind of start this young man's had. In 6 ball games, starting with 24 at-bats, he scored 6 times. He's got 9 hits, 3 of them for extra bases, 2 have left the ballpark. He leads the Big 12 in RBIs. I feel like that we saw him grow into the type of player at the end of last season when we got to Omaha. Then he goes back to Omaha, wins the home run derby. A lot of times that can get in your head. You and I have spent some time around the cage with him the last couple of days. He's a guy that's very focused on what's going on. That's in the past, and we need to go forward to the future. He's going to face a left-hander that is going to be one of the better ones throughout the country. A big left-hander, sinks it. He sinks the ball from 6'5", gets over the top, really turns it over, runs the fastball away from the right-handed hitters into the left-handed hitters. He's got a little slider that he used, but he's got a good straight change to go with it.
Should be fun. Ben Johnson going to lead it off. Ben's been red hot for Texas. Comes in second on the club with a .433 average. He's got 19 total bases, 8 knocked in, and 13 hits. That does lead Texas. And with his speed, if he can just walk and get on.
He's got good speed, but the thing about it is don't lay one in there too, because he can launch it. As BP today, the wind was blowing considerably out of the south like it was all day yesterday, but it's almost dead still right now as we start the first game of this doubleheader.
It looked like yesterday during BP, like we could have a couple maybe leaving the yard, but the flag's pretty calm right now. Upstairs, 2-2. Johnson 5 for 7 against left-handers this year. Junior from right here in Austin. It's underneath this. It's in the infield. Shortstop handle will call him off. And there's one out.
Well, the quarterback of the infield is obviously the shortstop. Once he makes the call and it's his play, everybody else gets back out of the way. It was interesting there to the first batter. You see from Dalton Sawyer, he's not afraid of his fastball. I mean, the ball does come out of his hands. He's fluid. He's easy. He's got a big left-hander. What a nice frame. 6'5" left-handers don't come along all the time.
No, they don't. That was the first leadoff batter that Minnesota's retired in this series.
To stay in the ball game, they're going to have to do that a bunch more.
Colin Shaw now up. Shaw had a monster game last night. A couple doubles, a triple. And therefore a strike. That's what Colin has done the last 2 games.
We talked in the open about mound presence, and it's fun to watch pitchers for me sometimes. You can see a young guy like Dalton Sawyer or Josh Shore, these 2 left-handers. If we take pictures throughout the game, you can really watch how they handle themselves. Do they get frustrated with themselves? Do they get frustrated with the umpire? Do they, get frustrated with their teammates when they don't make plays behind them? That's one of the things that your teammates are watching, how you respond to everything, and see if they can stand up. Those guys that are very stoic are the ones you're looking for. All right, I got this, no problem.
Catches his own, counts full. To first. Tyler Hansen will step on the bag himself, and there's 2 outs.
That's a nice job of coming back for Sawyer. Fell behind, found a way to come back and make 2 good pitches, 3-1 and 3-2 to get the out. The Golden Gophers need to find a way to play this game where they're not chasing. They need to get it back into the dugout and say, okay, we got through an inning, we're not trailing, because, boy, after 3 hitters last night, they were behind in the game, and they were uphill battle the rest of the night.
Never caught up. C.J. Hinojosa takes a strike on the lower half. C.J. at 217. Well, for everyone who was watching on ESPN, the Iowa State-Texas game, that is a final. Cyclones able to win. They were launching from beyond the arc, so I welcome everyone here. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland, game 2 of the 4-game set, and game 1 of a doubleheader today. Both will be 9 innings.
82 degrees on the big board, 19 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I believe that's a 63-degree difference.
I think the Gophers are happy to be in Austin this weekend. 3-1. Good hitters count coming up to C.J. Hinojosa.
Well, this is where you're looking for something you really can put a charge into.
He tried to put a charge into it, but got underneath it to left field, and that'll be Smith who squeezes it, and a good inning for Dalton Sawyer. Both Sawyers had good first innings. We're scoreless.
Nothing ball game. We go to the top of the second. My keys to the game today for the Golden Gophers, they need to play with the lead. They went 1-2-3 in the first, but their left center went out, threw strikes, pitched ahead of the count. They walked 21 batters over the first 4 ball games of the year. They've got to be able to throw strikes, and they need to score early. For Texas, just keep getting on. Just keep it on. They have really been good offensively in these first 6 ball games of the year. And this is a big start for the young left-hander from San Angelo, Josh Sawyer, to come back, establish himself as a guy that can get the ball over the course of the weekend. When you get to weekend baseball and conference play, there's a 3-game set every weekend. He wants to be one of those 3 guys that gets the ball once every weekend.
Michael Handel going to lead it off for Minnesota. Them count 2-0. Handel, a 5th-year senior. Heart and soul of this team. Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. Led the club in slugging a year ago. Oswell, and a nice stretch from Michael Cantu. One of the things we are going to be tracking in this game. Augie said we're going to see if Michael Cantu can play first.
And it's not the easiest place to play.
You did
Everybody
that.
says, "Oh, you're right." And if you've never made that transition, I had to do it at the big league level to understand. But it is an interesting position. It's not just, hey, just put that guy over first because he can't run. There's so many things you have to be involved in. A good first baseman can make your team so much better defensively.
Boswell's going to have to charge this one. Gets it out of his glove, and he's safe. That was Tony Shefty, who runs pretty well, and Tony got down the line.
I don't think you can do any more than Brett Boswell does right here. He's playing deep. It's a slow roller. Shefty does get down the line. Boswell has a little trouble getting it out of his glove, but it's a good call. It's a good stretch. Just right here, right at the moment he tries to get it, couldn't get it out as quick as he wants. And it's going to be an infield base hit.
First hit of the game. Austin Appman. Appman getting the start at catcher today. Looking for a little more offense. Austin's one of those kids that Keith's talked about it. You just go throughout the lineup. 6'2", 210. Definitely a physical looking club.
This is when you go out as a sophomore catcher to a sophomore pitcher that hadn't had the experience that Barrera's had behind the plate. And when you go out and say right here, I said, this is your first time. This is the first time they've gotten a base runner. You're in the stretch. Now show me that mound presence. Let's take it. Let's get after it. Let's attack the hitter. Let's don't, feel for trying to get a guy out. It's maybe I can get him out. Let's attack him. There's so much mental preparation to play baseball. Yes, you have to have the physical ability to play, but there's other parts of the game that you've got to use, especially as a pitcher.
Minnesota going to get much better with the runners on. They're 0 for 10 with runners on in the series. Another 2-0 count for Sawyer.
Make a good pitch right here and see if you can get a double play ball.
3-0. Sawyer was a late signee for Texas, had committed to Arizona State, really blew up the summer of his senior year. 4-pitch walk. Oh, that mound presence will be tested now.
Now, first time he'd gotten into the stretch after being in the windup the whole time. Did not make the adjustment. He has a tendency at times to rush to the plate. when you get to the stretch, especially when you come stretch and you're slide stepping, you cannot fall forward. When you rush, body rushes to the plate, your arm drags, and that means the ball's up, and that's where he missed 3 of the 4 pitches.
Skip Johnson, the Texas pitching coach. Here's Troy Traxler. Traxler's DHing today. We saw him pinch hit last night. Troy has 2 at-bats, still looking for his first hit of the year. It's a big opportunity here for Minnesota to take your keys to the game and get out
Jump
early.
out on top.
Two 2-0.
7 consecutive outside the zone, or 6 consecutive, excuse me. I would prompt the visit, I would think. And it does.
Josh.
And this is going to be a mechanical visit. There are certain visits, Kevin, where you're going out and you're working on a mental side. Then there's times when you're actually going out and there's a physical deal. But as he falls forward here, watch his body start forward before his arms clear. If his body starts forward before his arm gets back away from him, it's going to be high and up. He just can't get back. His arm becomes to drag because of that. So this is a mechanical visit. Again, there's times when you go out and you're frustrated as a coach with the mental approach of one of your pitchers. And then there's times you go out when you've got a physical thing. And, hey, this is what's going on to you. And then there's times where you're just going out there to say, take a breather. You need a little rest. Just relax a little bit.
To Traxler. He catches zone. 2-1.
Mechanically much better right there. This is in my opinion, the most crucial pitch of the inning right now. 1 out. You do not want to go to 3-1.
Two 2-1 goes back out there and counts even.
Best 2 fastballs he's thrown maybe today.
Traxler hit .310 a year ago, 58 at-bats as a freshman, including 3 doubles. Count runs full. Big pitch coming up here.
I don't think Coach Anderson will be putting them in motion here. Really good chance for a strike him out, throw him out if you do that. If you feel really good about your team offensively, this is a time where I do put them in motion. But early in the year, you're struggling offensively, don't want to run into the 3rd out on the base pass.
This could be 2. Marlowe bobbles it. Hinojosa not in time. It was tailor-made and one of the best double play combos in the country. You don't see that very often.
You don't. Brooks just got a little bit anxious. Right at the point, he knows he's going to have to go pretty good. It's not hit that well. He gets right there, and just the transition from catching it to getting it to CJ to turn the double play is just a little bit. Takes his eye off of it, fumbles it a little bit. They do get an out, though. That's the key.
2 outs, runners on the corners. Shefty moves over to 3rd. That brings up Tyler Hansen. Takes the strike.
When you rush sometimes as an infielder, you can see he just didn't secure it, but he did have the presence of mind to make sure to reach down and get the out. That's what so many times young players panic right there. A senior, second baseman, he didn't panic, say, all right, we're not going to get 2, but I'm going to get an out.
He has found that outside corner and he's living there. Now 6 straight strikes after that man went out there and talked to him. It's that old Tom Glavine move, right? Just go ahead and
a little bit further out, a little bit further out. This is when you got to trust your catcher. In my opinion, the pitch to go to right here is the hard breaking ball. I think he can get the strikeout, but as a catcher, you got to make sure you knock this ball down and keep it in front.
Trace Barrera catching game one. Michael Cantu at first. He's going to go to Cantu, and he had to use those long arms to make a play.
And that was just I know you're there throw over. It wasn't his best move.
Let's hope not.
Just didn't get quite on top of that breaking ball that time. It was the pitch, and I think that was the right pitch to go to. Just got underneath it a little bit right there.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on here in the second.
I'd come right back to it. It's a catcher, you give him a good, hey, we got this, come right back to the breaking ball to go for the strikeout.
Tyler Hansen also looking for his first hit. This is his 5th at-bat of the year. Tyler hit 184 as a freshman a year ago. Count runs full. Try to go with the fastball outside. You go back to that hard breaking ball now. 3-2. You throw it 2-2, right?
Yeah, if you threw it 2-2, you got to throw it 3-2. But he threw something, a different pitch, trying to turn a fastball over that time. Cantu will be behind him at first base. Crowd gets into a big pitch right here early in the game.
Runner will take off. Swing and a miss. Went back to the fastball, and as Keith said earlier, sometimes you just got to come with the heater.
Here it is. Nice job right there, coming back 3-2. Good location. Gets out of the jam here at the top of the second.
Sports.
Funny enough, talking to them, it's 18 and snowing, and they said for right now it's relatively not that bad.
Yeah, because tonight it's fallen to -2 in Minneapolis. But that's the difference right there. It's 84 degrees here. It's 18. Holy, it's what, 66 degrees?
That's a big
Something
66.
like that? I don't know. It just sounds unbelievable, the difference. But I'm sure they're happy to be here. Josh Schroyer really did a nice job to get out of that jam there. Minnesota really would love to have found a way to scrape one across right there and take a lead.
No doubt. 4, 5, and 6 due up for Texas. Here's Trace Barrera. Not going to say he's the hottest hitter in the country because I follow it, but I don't know every hitter. But I don't think there's one hotter.
No, there's not hotter. And the other thing that we're watching is I think we're seeing the growth and maturation of a power hitter, of what it takes to be a power hitter. And I'll get back to it after this pitch.
There's some power, hit hard, but right at Smith. It's the 3rd line drive Smith has caught from Barrera.
This is a really nice job. Watch his front side just sitting down right here on this slow breaking ball. He gets the breaking ball right here. Watch it stop. It'll get down and stop right there, and his hands stay back, and that allows him to explode forward on that off-speed pitch. We're seeing the growth of a hitter in the sense that when he gets 2 strikes, gets into counts, he's understanding how to be an RBI guy. Hit the ball at the middle the other way, but early in counts, he's thinking juice. And boy, he's put a really good swing on 3 consecutive lineouts to left.
Yeah, those are all outs and really good at-bats. Here's Brooks Marlowe. Brooks comes in hitting .280, the senior from Giddings, Texas. Older brother Ty is on the team, and his dad Mike, longtime high school baseball coach at Giddings. Handles shielding the sun. They don't have to deal with the wind they did last night. We saw some close plays last night.
Well, the wind was, a 25-mile-an-hour hawk was blowing out. He's doing some different things, but as we get into this doubleheader today in February, right field at Dish Falk is almost as bad as right field in Wrigley in the summer.
Wow.
It's as tough as you want to ever play, and we will have that in right for both of these right fielders as the day goes on here in this doubleheader.
There's the first baseman today, at least for game one of the doubleheader. Michael Cantu. Cantu leads the club with a .538 average. First 13 at-bats in college, 7 hits, 7 runs, 6 ribbies.
I think what I've been impressed more with Michael is that he's starting to understand the strike zone. In the fall, he swung the bat well. You could see he adapted to collegiate pitching, but he was having a tough time understanding the strike zone. Here to start the season, he's made a nice adjustment, understanding what's inside the zone and not going outside the zone. That's a perfect example right there on an 0-2 pitch.
And tried to elevate and change the eye level, and the freshman did not chase. A lot of freshmen will chase that. A lot of seniors will chase that pitch.
Yep.
1-2 from Sawyers. You see the shadow playing a part now, and so is Dalton Sawyer's stuff. He's looked very good through 2. We're scoreless.
Open up the...
We go to the top of the third. Pitchers and pitching coaches, I don't know that there is not a more unbelievable relationship. It's like a marriage sometimes.
A long marriage,
it's
right?
A long marriage, but this is what a young pitcher is going to get from a veteran pitching coach. Come in. First of all, you can see it's not a yelling match. It's more of a situation where, look, you got to enjoy playing the game and compartmentalize the difference between the pressure and everything else. And Skip's talking about, hey, have some fun out there. You can see in Josh Sawyer's eyes, he wasn't having a whole lot of fun. Instead of being out there trying to do things, you get nervous, you get tight. It's more about, hey, relax, get on the mound, have fun, and attack. And that's what pitching's all about. It's about attacking the battle, the individual battle between a hitter and a pitcher. But have fun with it.
It's still
just
a game.
A game.
It's a great point. And coming from a major leaguer, it's in there for a strike to Jordan Smith, who's the 9-hole hitter. And you said during the break, even when you were making a lot of money and playing in the big leagues, and it was a job and a high-pressure job, you had to remind yourself it's still a game.
Still a game. Still have fun with it. Yes, there's 250 million people raising up their newspaper the next morning finding out how I did at the office. You know, there's not many CEOs of companies that are going to worry about getting up and say, well, he's not doing that well. Maybe at the end of the quarter.
But not every day.
Not every day.
Rolls foul, 1-2. What's that fine line of not trying too hard, but being focused, but not being too... It's really hard.
Yeah, it is. And if it was easy, everybody'd do it.
Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland here. Got a lot of baseball set up for you today, and we're excited about it. 1-2. There had been some low strikes called. You get the sense that both Sawyers are trying to pepper the bottom of that zone. Matt McKendry calling balls and strikes. This could be trouble. Coming in is Johnson, and it's going to fall in no man's land. Ben had a long way to go, as did Brett Boswell. One of the things you've talked about is Johnson taking better routes in the outfield. We saw that on the base pass and defensively. He's really come a long way.
He's come a long way. I mean, again, he's in his 3rd year, and I think when you look, professional scouts are watching, they love the fact that, you know, he was an outstanding high school football player, had a chance to probably play college football if he wanted to, but baseball was the direction he wanted to go.
Breaking ball to center. Gerwitz is underneath it. And Smith is retired for the first out.
So he really didn't get the time in the summer to go play summer ball. He just played high school ball. And really, when he got on campus 2.5 years ago, it's the first time he'd committed full-time to playing baseball. And it's an adjustment because you got to understand routes. You got to understand backups. There's little bitty things that you got to do in the game that you probably, that's your main sport all through high school and junior high, and you probably know a little more. But if in the state of Texas, football is still pretty king. And if you play football for one of these high school coaches, they make you involved in it year-round.
No doubt. Modal with a shot to left, and a nice job by Johnson cutting that ball off and holding it to a single. Thought that was maybe a double off the bat.
Well, that's, again, another outstanding route See, even our great camera work here from our left field camera, Johnson gets to it. He knows he's thinking too. You get right here, come up, get rid of it quickly. Sure, the throw was a little high, and it might not have been on the line, but the ability to get to it and get rid of it stops the runner regardless where the throw is.
One out for Schaefbauer. Only 3 attempted steals for Minnesota. They were all last weekend against Houston. They were successful on all 3. Schaefbauer, the guy at the plate, has 2 of them. And Modal, the guy at first, has the other one.
Difficult to read. Sawyer doesn't have an outstanding move, but he does a nice job of deception on when he's coming to first or delivering the baseball. And I wouldn't call it an outstanding move, but you don't have to have a good move to first if you're left-handed. If your delivery to the plate and your delivery to first look almost the same.
One and one.
Well, if you're John Anderson right here, if you're thinking about running, this is the best hit and run count you can have in a 1-1 count.
John Anderson in his 34th year. 2 of the legendary college baseball coaches going head to head this weekend. They had a nice long talk yesterday. I've seen a lot of games in between them as Sawyer peppers that in for strike 2.
Tell you, how about the passion that both of these head coaches have for the college baseball game?
They just love it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it that long if you didn't.
You're right. Coach Anderson really was enjoyable to sit and talk to about it and his passion for his team and his conference. He understands that what's taking place. I mean, it's a real transformation what's going on across the country, especially the teams north of the Mason.
Absolutely.
Cold weather.
And he's seen the difference. He was at Minnesota when they were a premier program and going to Omaha. They've won 3 national titles. Dave Winfield, Paul Molitor. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch by Josh Sawyer. And there are 2 outs now. That's the 4th strikeout for Sawyer.
That's a Bugs Bunny breaking ball right here in a great location. As we mentioned, ending the inning. Second time he's chased the pitch outside the zone. It's getting that time where it's tough to see right now, too. The shadow right between home plate and the mound. The ball comes out of the bright sunlight into the darkness. It's not easy on the hitter, the catcher, or the umpire in the right now.
Brings up Matt Fiedler. Fiedler grounded out. So the runner takes off. Here comes the throw from Barrera. Beautiful throw, but in time is Modal, and that's his 2nd stolen base of the year.
Well, Modal just taking off on first movement. As soon as Sawyer lifted his foot, he was guessing he was not coming to first. He was going to the plate. There's nothing Barrera could do. This is as good a catch and release as you can get, but he stole that definitely on Sawyer on first movement.
Yes. Good call by Matt Martinez at second. Modal certainly got in there and runner in scoring position. Well, Texas starting pitching had 7 strikeouts in 26 innings pitched. That was the first 6 games. Today in 2 2/3, 4 Ks. Sawyer showing some put away stuff. Seems like he's using the breaking ball more here in the 3rd inning.
I like what he's done. I mean, he looks, his mound presence has been better. He pitched through a jam in the 2nd.
Two and two.
Anytime you can throw a breaking ball for a strike when you're down in the count, it's the hitter now says, I don't know what to look for. See it coming out of that bright sunlight, just go into the darkness. It's hard to see right now. You can't wait till that shadow gets all the way to the mound.
Two, lifted in the air. Gerwitz is underneath it, makes the play, and Sawyer able to work out of a guy on second. We're scoreless.
Longhorn.
Minnesota is one of the most tradition-rich baseball programs you're going to see, as is the University of Texas. 9 national championships between these two programs. They have lived in Omaha, and they have played a bunch in the regular season. First year of baseball for Minnesota, 1876. Longhorns, 1895. Talked about the 9 national championships between them, 40 College World Series appearances. First meeting, 1924, Texas won 4-3. But my partner here, Keith Moreland, you took on some Minnesota teams when you were playing for a national championship Texas team, and they were pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think we'd won 27 or 28 in a row when they came in here and took a couple of games away from us with a Dave Winfield and a Paul Molitor, a really good baseball team. Later on, they were in the College World Series later on that year. But we were fortunate to not play them in the postseason.
Yeah.
But we did come home with a national championship.
1975 team. They're also pretty good tailgaters. I was out here 3 hours before,
right,
and there were
they had a group
4 or 5 groups.
Yes, there were.
Well, they're not used to being able to tailgate at this time of the year outside.
Well, you know what? It better be a big bonfire.
Right.
At 18 degrees.
Good showing from the Golden Gopher fans here. 0-2 on Brett Boswell. Dalton Sawyer's given them a lot to cheer about. He's come in and done exactly what he needed to do. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to Boswell.
We talked about this. Was the young man is draft eligible in his junior season. He's got a great body. It's loose. He's one of those guys that's not a max effort. It just ball jumps out of his hands. At times he struggles with command of the strike zone, but if he gets ahead of you, he has the ability to put you away with a couple of different styles of pitching. And the ball runs. You know, right-handed hitters, as Zane Gerwitz steps to the plate right now, I'll tell you, that first one just ran away from you. You see it, you start forward, and the ball starts to tail away from you.
As a right-handed hitter, what do? Do you just try and shoot everything right?
You got to concentrate staying on top of the baseball. If you get underneath it, you're in trouble.
Up 0-2 on Gerwitz. Nice play made by the crowd, which has been filling in. I'm sure a lot of people made the walk across I-35 after Texas lost to Iowa State. Why not? A lot of options in Austin, Texas on a day like today, but I can't think of any better than the ballpark.
We're going to have a good crowd before the end of the day's out. Remember, 1 ticket. If you're in the area right now, come by right now. The ticket's good for the second game as well.
Yep. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out to the sophomore from San Antonio. This could be a tough play. Shefty over, safe. Gerwitz beat it out. Shefty did everything he could at third.
Cued it right off the end of the bat. Gerwitz hustling all the way. Boy, this is a nice play. Got it, got rid of it, got a lot on it. And a good call. Tie goes to the runner. It's a lot closer than when it was first hit. I thought it was easily a base hit.
I thought he may eat it.
And it just closer. You can see right there. Tough call.
Tough call, but a good call. Here's Joe Baker. Baker's a guy they are very high on. He's dealing with an arm injury. He's probably at about 70%. They think he is a phenomenal defensive player. In fact, Brandon Lloyd, as we said last night, was a name that was thrown out when they talk about Baker. You know, Texas baseball, that says a lot. He can pick it. But also he can hit. He's 5'9", 188-pounder. He's from McKinney, Texas, went to McKinney High. Hit .383 his junior year at 18 stolen bases. His father pitched at Duke. But this is where Texas is adding depth they didn't have in previous years.
Right, and guys that are, not only do they have depth, but depth of guys that are Division I players.
Exactly.
It's the first time that Dalton Sawyer's been into the stretch. We saw Joshua struggle when he got into the stretch the first time.
Why is that so difficult?
It's just they've thrown their first 40 pitches, 30 pitches out of the windup, retired everybody they're facing. And all of a sudden now you come to something that you just haven't done, and it's hard to get back and stay in that rhythm. So here's a great opportunity, you know, just like that. An infield hit sometimes changes the momentum of a ball game.
Turn the lineup over for Ben Johnson. Ben popped up to handle the shortstop off the first. He rips this to left. They're going to hold up Zane Gurwitz. Crowd doesn't like it, but Smith charged that ball hard in left field, and the bases are loaded.
Well, with 2 outs, there's no question as a third base coach there, Tommy Nicholson would have sent the run. But with 1 out, and it's a ball hit that crisp, ball's in the hand of the outfielder before the runner crosses third. That's a key for a third base coach. If the outfielder has the ball and my player is not to the bag or past the bag, I need to throw the stop sign out with less than 2 outs. With 2 outs, you don't look at it.
Right.
You're sending.
But 1 out, where the ball was, where he was, only waving Wendell Kim is sending him home.
Yeah. You don't want to run into. You don't want to run into the second out of an inning at home plate.
Here is Shaw. Nice pitch. Shaw swings over it. Colin grounded out to first. His first time up.
Boy, walks just change the complexion of the ball game.
Goes back to it. 0-2.
And this inning started with a 1-2-3 strikeout, then a 1-2 breaking ball that's chewed off the end of the bat. It's an infield hit, and then 4-pitch walk. Changes the whole complexion of the inning.
Johnson a rope to left. Base is loaded. Good speed on the base paths. Comes with the hard stuff. Hit 90, but misses. Six for 14 this season with the bases loaded. You don't need to be anywhere near that good.
Ooh. Contact right here for the senior lefty matchup. Shaw's thinking, I just got to put it in play.
And he does. What a job by Colin Shaw. Can they get the out? Yes. Beautiful play by Sawyer with the scoop, but Texas gets on the board. It's 1-0 Horns.
Still, you got to put it in play. Shaw did his job right there. Made contact. Really tough pitch. And a great athletic move by Dalton Sawyer right here. This is hard to do. Left-handers fall to the third base side. Shaw's got excellent speed. He knows he's got one chance to get the out, and he does.
Beautiful play.
That's a beautiful play right there. Still not out of the jam, but Longhorns do have the lead. Great individual effort. Hansen as well at first base. That's a good effort on his part, not to anticipate the throw coming right to him.
And to go get it. Well, that could have been a really big problem with the bases loaded and 1 out. 2 outs now, and here's C.J. Hinojosa. Hinojosa takes this to right, but it's going to be out of play. C.J. flied out his first time up.
That goes back to why you hold the runner at third base on the bullet to left. It gives your hitter an opportunity to do something, because if he gets thrown out at the plate and the pitcher makes that kind of individual effort, Texas walks away in the inning with a goose egg.
Good point. Big junior year for C.J. Hinojosa. Played in the Cape Cod League for the second straight summer. Played a little third, and he may have to switch to second at the next level. That's why summer ball is good experience for those guys. You get to go play different spots.
Well, you play some third. I always felt like that if I was a shortstop, I should be able to play all 4 of the infield positions. Now, first base is a little different, but because there's guys that can play first and third, but there's very few that can play all 3 or all 4 of them.
One of the things you brought to the table as a major leaguer, you could play every single position.
I could have a tough time to play short, and you can't run out of sight in a week.
But you could if we put you there.
I did play some second, though.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh, watch out. And this is going to bring home the second run for Texas. Baker slides in. It's 2-0.
That's just a killer. You can see Sawyer upsetting himself. He tried to overthrow this fastball, tried to get too much on it. Just by his catcher. Boy, that's a big run for the Horns.
This is where you see Michael Handel, being the team leader that he is, going to come out and going to talk to the battery. Hey, it's only 2-0. You're pitching well. Let's continue to pitch well.
7 in a row retired before the infield hit. And again, we talked about mound presence starting the game. And even though he's a junior, it's gotten to him a little bit right here. He just hadn't been able to make the adjustment.
Hookham is here to short. And will take his time and throw out C.J. Hinojosa. Nice tag by Tyler Hansen to get it done. But Texas gets 2. We played 3. The Horns lead. Well, Texas used a little rally cap. Got 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd. That is a funky rally cap. Good crowd out here, though, and why not? 75 degrees on the big board. The clouds have cleared up, and we are going to play 2, like Ernie said. Texas leading 2-0. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland here at the Dish. Is there a better place when you're a kid than the Dish?
We got a good crowd here.
We do. Even see an Iowa State fan right there. So an Iowa State shirt. They're going to go over there to the Irwin Center. Come on over.
Yeah, well, they celebrated over there. Don't let them celebrate over here.
Yeah, well, they don't have a baseball team, so you might as well go check out Texas. Although Texas was able to use some Cyclones in that 2002 National Championship.
Absolutely, they did. Big inning for Josh Sawyer, the Texas left-hander. He's been given a lead. See if he can come back out, take control of the ball game.
1-2 on Handel. Michael needs to get going offensively. He hit 261 a year ago, but as Keith said, slugged 405. That led the club. Also had 3 home runs. It's funny when I look at power numbers, I have to go back to, okay, was that 2010? Oh no, that's 2013, and now it's 20. You know, 15 is going to be different than 2014. 2-2.
We haven't got into that really that much at this point of the year, but the pendulum's coming back. I'm not sure they're done with this pendulum. I still think it's got some to go back the other way.
Well, most times with legislation, whether it's sports or not, the pendulum will swing a little too far. You try to correct something, it goes too far, and you've got to get it back. And it definitely went too far.
I think they've made one good step to come back. We don't want 21-14 finals in the national championship game.
Nobody wants that. And I'll love a 1-0 game more if it's a legitimate 1-0 game.
You're exactly right.
Because that means there were some balls squared up and there were some great defensive plays. And Handel's worked himself back in this count. Boswell. He is smooth over there. That was not a difficult play, but the way he read the hop, everything transfers pretty easily.
Well, Coach Garrido talked to us in the fall when he said he really felt like it was going to help his infield defense. And Boswell not only can play, but because he's so confident and has such arm strength that he can play so deep. Showed you right there with his depth. He's going to cut more balls off, too. That's the other. The deeper you can play at third, the more range you're going to have away from home plate. That's going to help this team as well. It's going to be a really good defensive team. They've made 4 miscues to this point in the season.
Tony Shefty. Josh Sawyer has first pitch strikes to 6 of the last 7 batters. Retired all 5 of those first strike batters. That's always a key in baseball, but with some pitchers like Parker French and Josh Sawyer, I think it's even more of a key.
Well, what kind of stuff do you have? I mean, what type of pitcher? Are you a strikeout guy? Strike one not quite as important.
Lifted in the air. Now Hossa is going to give way to Gerwith for the second out. After the...
You were Sandy Koufax or Nolan Ryan.
Right.
You could be down 1-0. You still, you're a guy, or Roger Clemens, that could strike guys out. But on the backside, if you're a guy, a Tom Glavine, which we're not going to strike a lot of people out. Strike one was huge to you. Greg Maddox, strike one was huge to you, because now you made the hitter defensive.
Brings up Austin Atman. Atman catching today, walked back in the second.
I would also throw Randy Johnson in there. He didn't care what the count.
No, he could go 2-0 and get you.
Yeah.
Chopped foul. Well, Sawyer had a little problem in the second, gave up a single to Shefty, then Atman walked, but he was able to get out of it and really hasn't had any problems since the third inning single by Modal. Retired 4 in a row.
Well, I like it. He's made a good adjustment on his mound presence. He's been more relaxed. You can tell he's enjoyed himself a little more. It's not like he's worried about everything. You know, his uniform was on right. Put tug in here. Some mound presence can be shown up in so many different ways. I go back to Taylor Youngman when he was here. Even when he didn't have good stuff, he was imposing. He got on the mound, he looked in and said, I'm going to get you out, even when he didn't have good stuff. I mean, he just had great mound presence.
No doubt. Had it as a freshman. 3-1 now. One of the things you've talked about is that scouts look at not only mound presence, but presence for the position players, how you're acting, how you're walking.
Everything. Do you enjoy playing? Do you like to play? It shows up too. Your body language shows up. No question about it.
So we're trying to go 1, 2, 3 for the second time. Did it in the first. That Salt Lick sign's making me hungry.
It's good barbecue.
Yeah, it is. 3-2. Gerwitz coming in. Can he make the play? Yes, he can. Zane had it all the way and shows that, yes, he can play some center field. Minnesota continues this weekend right here on Longhorn Network. We have one more game tonight at 6 or 45 minutes after the conclusion of this game. And then again on Sunday, we got the finale at 1 Central. It's Longhorn baseball all weekend long right here on Longhorn Network. Here are your probable Game 2 starters. Game 3 of the series, Game 2 of today. Tim Shannon and Chad Hollingsworth. Chad still trying to get maybe 100% healthy, but we saw last year he is a bulldog, and when he is healthy, he can be a starter for this team.
Yeah, I would still say that I wouldn't call him 100% yet. I think he's pitching at 90, building strength, and each time he goes out, I think he'll be better than he was the previous outing.
We look forward to that one. Trace Barrera going to lead it off for Texas here, and he just continues to lace the ball. Shefty got a glove on it, but couldn't get it. Barrera's heading to second. Smith gets it out of the corner, and it is a leadoff stand-up double. Trying to think the last time he didn't hit the ball hard.
Well, you're right. And he comes to the plate. Front side gets down again. This ball's down and in. Does a nice job of getting great extension on it. You can see Shefty trying to get up. Just gets a piece of it, but can't secure it. Had enough strength on it to power it into the corner. Now, this is where you got to get him over, play the game right here if you're Brooks Marlowe.
One of the things Augie said to us is that he's not going to bunt as much this year because he feels like these guys can swing the bat, not going to give up that many outs. And Keith, it's going to make this Texas offense really unpredictable.
Well, we'll make it unpredictable, but this is a chance in a lefty-lefty matchup. I wouldn't be surprised to see bunt here all the way here for Marlowe.
I think you're right, and it's going to make him throw a strike first.
And it just you got the right-hander Cantu on deck. You know, go ahead and take advantage of and play the little things. Lead off double, get him over, get him in.
Gets the bunt down. It's a nice one. Barehanded by Sawyer. Makes the play. I tell you what, the 6'5" lefty has shown some athleticism off the mound.
Oh, he is a good athlete. You can tell. You see why the professional people really like him, because he is a good athlete. He's got a good breaking ball. This is a really nice play. Marlowe thinking base hit right there. He gets it down. He knows he's got a shot at it. Boy, this is a good play. Sawyer comes up and guns him down at first. I would think if you're Minnesota, you got to play the infield up. They've struggled to score runs in the series, and they do bring the infield up.
Good call. Comes up Cantu. Michael struck out in the second. He's probably happy that Shadow has moved up, because he caught it at a bad time.
Yeah, much easier to see now than it was early in the game. Norther has reached much different now as an outfielder. You got to really pay attention, because games like today, the wind has really turned. It's blowing in over the monster in center now. The ball will not carry like it did earlier in the ball game.
Well, last night when Cantu hit a blast, he's going to try and safety squeeze. This is what Cantu did last night. He got full extension on this one, although the wind did help.
He got it out over the plate, and he knew when it left the bat, it had a chance. 398 feet, short off to the wall, dead straightaway center field. That drove in 3, and then he shoots one into the gap later in the ball game.
Due to the freshman from Corpus Christi. That's where that plate awareness and pitch selection you talked about, he's really improved from the fall.
I'm really impressed with his ability to stay within the strike zone pretty well. And sometimes you're going to have times all of us get impatient as hitters.
Close. 2-2. You tell Sawyer wanted that one. He gets back to that. How do you react after a missed pitch or missed call?
Shoulders sort of relaxed, didn't they?
Yep.
Doesn't want to make a mistake up right now, though.
He did go around. Cantu tagged out.
That was an impressive job of pitching right there against, I think, a good young freshman hitter. Fell behind, actually got ahead, missed with 2 breaking balls, and then comes back with a good one where he takes more off of it. That one at 78 miles an hour. Cantu starts forward, can't stop it, tries to right there. No question committed. It's a nice job by Dalton Sawyer, the left-hander for the Golden Gophers.
And obviously with 2 outs, the infield able to play back now. So if Sawyer can work out of this, gave up leadoff double to Barrera. Merlo sacrificed him over, and 2 with the strikeout. A quick conversation at the mound.
As Coach Anderson will today having to take over double duty, in the sense that he's not only the head coach and the manager, but having to be the pitching coach today.
Well, Todd Oakes is the pitching coach, and Todd Oakes is back in Minnesota. He's dealing with his second bout of leukemia, going through remission right now, and certainly our thoughts and prayers are with him. But it only makes sense that Scott Matus, who's the interim pitching coach, is also very close, and there's really been, heck, we even had Phil Isaacson, who was a pitcher who died of cancer for Minnesota, and they did a nice tribute for him. So really a lot of stuff going on with this Minnesota program, and John Anderson has to step up.
Family's hurting.
That's the best way to put it.
The family's hurting. He's having to do double duty.
Really nice tribute to Isaacson, who pitched for Minnesota and pitched for Anderson and passed away to cancer.
I've been impressed with this young man on the mound, though.
I have too.
You can see Longhorns, as the season goes on, we'll see very few left-handers any better than this, what we've seen so far. I've been impressed with this young man.
Especially the lineup that he is facing. These guys, you talk about hitting is always about confidence. This is a confident club right now.
Very. 37 hits in 2 ball games. I'll do that to you.
4-pitch walk to Boswell. So that'll set up a lefty-righty matchup with Zane Gurwitz, who singled and scored back in the 3rd.
Well, that's one he'd like to have back with Boswell. You like the matchup. if you're Sawyer in the lefty-lefty. He got behind, never could do it. Now he's going to face a tough right-handed hitter that I believe probably steps up. It's good in an RBI situation as any Longhorn in the lineup on a regular basis. Gerwitz is a tough out usually when there's runners in scoring position.
Low 1-0. Thane had been dealing with a little hamstring pull, but I think he's pretty much back to normal.
Good hitter's pitch right here. I'd be sitting on fastball, something out over the plate.
He was sitting on it, hits it to right. He's got some pop to right, but this will not carry far enough. Fiedler makes the play, and Texas done here in the fourth. We'll talk with Augie when we get back. Welcome back to Austin. Texas leads Minnesota 2-0. We head to the fifth inning. Joining us now is the head coach, Augie Garrido, and coach Josh Sawyer out for his fifth inning of work. What have you seen from him so far?
I think he's been very good, a lot looser than he was down in Rice. He's using a variety of pitches in a variety of places. And that's something he wasn't able to do in his first start. So he looks more comfortable, more aggressive, and more effective.
It's always nice to see your hitters have to face good pitching to see how they react. This young man from Minnesota has got some really good stuff, Coach.
You know, they had a left-handed pitcher that, a couple of years ago when we went up there to Minnesota, and he and Finnegan, the player from TCU, were the two best left-handed pitchers that we saw all year. Wow. They were both in the, and the left-handed pitcher from Minnesota is also on the 40-man roster. So they have good athletes.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coach referencing Tom Wendell, who beat Texas with 8 Ks in 2013. Wendell was a second-round pick for the Dodgers. He is now Baseball America. He was actually traded to the Phillies in a big player trade about a month ago. And
Jimmy Rollins involved.
Jimmy Rollins involved. That showed you how good of a prospect he is. But Baseball America has Wendell as the 5th best prospect in Phillies organization.
Well, and I think, folks, if you're getting the opportunity, Dalton Sawyer has impressed me. He's a guy that you're not going to face many more. That's what you're doing in the championships. You hear Coach Garrido talk about it, and other coaches across the country talk about it. You know, you're getting yourself ready for your conference title, then your conference tournament, then the regional, then a super regional, in the first half of the College World Series to get to the final tournament, which is the best 2 out of 3 in the College World Series. So you want to put yourself and get your team playing against a variety of different players from across the country. And Dalton Sawyer has impressed me here so far today. Texas with a 2-0 lead.
Marlowe stays down on it. Goes out Traxler for the first out. There's now 6 in a row retired from Josh Sawyer. Augie said a variety of pitches and places.
Yeah.
But the first thing he said was he's a lot more relaxed than
Mount
right.
It just goes back to, you know, how you got to feel like you're going to have, again, it's about having fun. You don't want to let the pressure get to you. But you also got to feel like you're going to have success. Hey, you know, there's a lot of different. I'd rather have a confident, cocky player than I had a player that was thrilled. Oh, I'm not sure I can do this. I want somebody that says, I can get this done.
I know it may not sound right, too, but I'll also take the guy who doesn't practice well but turns it on when he plays than the other way around.
Hey, when they sell tickets, does he play well?
Right.
Does when the lights come on?
What do you call them, 5 o'clock hitters in BP?
Yeah, and then there's guys that hit at 7:15.
And with the fastball and challenged Tyler Hansen. Tyler struck out back in the second. He's a good-looking young player for this team. They are going to hit eventually. Coach Anderson's pretty sure about that. Then if you throw in Ben Meyer and now this lefty, that's not a bad Friday, Saturday Big Ten rotation.
Yeah, and Meyer yesterday didn't have a lot of tilt to his fastball. I think he was really flat yesterday. I don't think he had his better stuff. He's a sinker baller.
Gerwitz coming in. Not going to gamble on that one. He thought about it.
Well, that's a good lesson right there. get a chance to see that replay. As an outfielder, a young outfielder, if you want to play outfield, you're a young man, you read the ball off of the bat, your first instinct, I might be able to get to it. You got to know the score, the inning, and everything else. Obviously, 1 out, nobody on with a 2-0 lead. No sense trying to take advantage because there's nothing behind you except a wall. There's no backup for you as an outfielder. If you lay your body out and miss it, it may turn into 3 bases and a run. This way you can make 1 pitch as a pitcher, turn a double play, and you're out of the inning.
Let's see if he can do it. Marlowe to Hinojosa. It's going to be tough. That was not hit well enough, but now 2 outs. Well, Kevin Markham, the center fielder for UTSA, found that out on Tuesday when he runs a 6'4", 6'5", 60, and he said, I'm going to go get it. And well, Ben Johnson was coming home, and all 4 were.
Yeah, it's just one of those scenarios where you got to tell you, nice try to turn. Really nice job by Marlowe that time to get it, get rid of it. Give Hinojosa a chance to turn the double play, but just starting.
He was up Dan Modal. Modal singled back in the 3rd and struck out to lead the game off. Snap throw. Trace Barrera doing the catching here in game 1. We expect probably to flip-flop with Cantu. Barrera will probably play first, and Michael will catch.
I would think you're looking at Sawyer's last frame. If he can work his way through this, is it 77? That's that number you're looking at in that 2nd outing. You're looking 75 to 80 and hope you can get through 5 and qualify for the victory.
Texas bullpen is getting loose. Another snap throw. Jake McKenzie, the freshman, number 51. One of the best sliders on the team. And another freshman, Connor Mays, from right here in Austin, went to Lake Travis.
I think for Mays probably would be the Tuesday starter. This is a situation where you might get him into the game, get him an inning. Hopefully he stays under 20 pitches.
Runner takes off, throw down there, and Barrera threw a seed. Brooks Marlowe was just waiting for Jordan Smith. They had a pretty good idea he may be taken off. Barrera couldn't get him at first, so he says, I'll go ahead and get him at second. On the money, Texas leads 2-0. Welcome back. Texas leads Minnesota 2-0. Game 1 of the doubleheader here on Longhorn Network. Pleased to be joined now by one of the legends of the game, John Anderson, in his 34th year. Coach, not Josh Sawyer. We got 2 Sawyers. Dalton Sawyer has been excellent for you. What have you seen from your lefty?
Well, he worked out of the bullpen in his career here. He's been a closer for us last year, so he's learning how to be a starter and pace himself and be able to mix 3 pitches. And I've been impressed what he's done here today.
Coach, I know you walked out to him last inning, and when you go out in those situations, what are some of the things, because that's not usually what you do on a regular basis. What did you walk out and tell your left-hander?
Well, our pitching coach is gone today. He went home for Phil Isaacson's funeral, so I'm doing double duty. But I just thought he was rushing down the slope, and just wanted to try to slow the game down here and gather himself and make sure that we had a good plan of what we wanted to execute in that situation with 2 outs and a guy in 3rd base.
It's been fun to watch. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Lefty out for his 5th inning of work, giving up 2 runs.
Coach Anderson's fun to talk to, isn't he?
He's a lot of fun. I just had fun listening to you 2 guys talk about college baseball in the mid-70s and just some of the games. Some of the names were really fun.
A lot of history in baseball in Minnesota.
There is. And 3 national championships. Trying to get that program back to where it was in its heyday.
I just think about how many years of just 2 coaches.
Right.
And the great programs across the country have very few coaches. Guys go, they get a program going, and they stay a long, long time.
Outside of a couple wars, Texas has really had 4 coaches in 120 years. You mentioned Phil Isaacson's funeral. Todd Oaks already back there dealing with leukemia, as we said earlier. There's a lot going on. Phil played for the Gophers from 2008 to 2011. He died February 8th. Had a 3-year battle with cancer. But just talking to some of the people within the program, he was one of those guys that always had a smile on his face and wanted to play ball. Scouts weren't questioning that. There's Joe Baker with his first hit as a Texas Longhorn.
He worked the count, got to a 3-1 count, got a fastball where he can handle it. Always brings a smile to your face. Get that first knock as a collegiate. Nice job, sets the front side down. Accelerates the barrel through the ball, squared it up. Again, that's about pitch count. You know fastball's coming there.
Keith, am I wrong, or do their swings just look different from the last couple of years?
Well, you know, sometimes hitting changes, but these are freshmen. Some of these guys we haven't seen before.
It's going to get past Ackman, and Baker will move up. Big opportunity here for Texas, and a key moment for Minnesota to try and
stay in the ball game.
Make sure that, because they were in the game at times last night, and it just felt like it got away pretty quickly in the middle inning. Now this situation, Ben wants to hit the ball to the right side. Do you let him swing away here?
I think that with Ben's speed, I'd like to see him push the ball to the right side, see if you can't get him over and get a base hit. That was an inside move, not to get the runner back to second, but to see if Johnson gave away what he was doing at the plate. This is a good time. You work on it every day, but it's a good time to push bunt right here.
A lot of options because he can bunt with his speed, but he's also 7 for 15 with runners on and 6 for 10 with runners in scoring position this season.
He's driven in 8 runs out of the leadoff spot.
Stop Austin. It gets back to, though, not being predictable. Last year, in the last couple of years, Augie would have bunted 100% of the time, and we know why, because he just had to play station to station looking for a run.
It changes a little bit. You can see the lefty starting to tire now. He doesn't have as good a snap on his fastball or his breaking ball. Activity starting in the Minnesota bullpen.
Joe bunt, but was just taking a strike, 3-1.
Second outing for all these pitchers across the nation. The second full weekend of college baseball. You're gonna, at 75 pitch mark, 80 pitch mark is usually when they start to tire. They haven't built that endurance at this point of the season.
To left. Smith is there for the first out. Well, one of the things, too, that Coach Anderson mentioned during the interview, he said, well, Sawyer's been a guy coming out of the bullpen. He was second on the team in ERA last year at 2.62, had 21 appearances, no starts. This is probably his second start at Minnesota, unless he did start as a freshman. I don't have those numbers.
Again, he comes out of the closer role, so he's been in tight environments. And you know, they probably have told him back in the fall when they were doing their fall, say, look, we want to get you into the weekend rotation. So to do that, we're going to start building your endurance. So they'll keep pushing him. But again, it is tough to get there sometimes.
Runner takes off. Great jump by Joe Baker, and he takes it himself. He stole that off of Sawyer.
Got an excellent jump. You're exactly right. He had a run. He had 4 or 5 steps before the ball came out of Sawyer's hands. Excellent jump. Good camera work right there shows you. There was no chance as a catcher. He's off and running. The ball's still in the pitcher's hands right there.
I asked Augie, what do you like most about him? He said, well, outside of the defensive skills, he said he understands the game. He had a delayed steal that he put on by himself and executed in a scrimmage. Augie said, I've given that play to juniors, and they're afraid to try and execute it. He put it on himself, and obviously probably just took that one by himself.
Been a odd slide at the end. He'll work on that. Hey, sliding on this turf is something you have to get used to.
It's not easy. We've seen a lot of coaches actually practice it because a lot of players will overslide the bag.
Right. It's getting used to it. Should be an advantage to the team that plays on it on a regular basis.
Infield is up. Handle kind of at that medium range. Now he starts to creep up. Souvenir.
This is when you're a senior hitter. Understand he got the job done with the bases loaded to put the first run on the board the last time up. in a 2-2 count. Now with the infield up, got to make contact here again. That's what you're battling as a hitter. You shorten everything up, make sure you put it in play.
2-2 close. You wanted that one.
Sawyer didn't want that pitch. You can see him. Watch the reaction of Dalton Sawyer. You can just see him. What? What? And instantly covers his mouth.
Right. That's because he was coughing. Line back up the middle with the infield in. That'll bring home a run, and Shaw's looking for 2. Goes in head first, and he's got it. An extra hustle type inning for Texas.
You got to leave home plate knowing that you want second base, and that's exactly what Colin Shaw did. He put his head down right there and thinking, nice job on a breaking ball, goes out, stays with it. Watch him put his head down right now. I've got it. I've got 2. I got to go right now. Inside corner of the bag, never hesitates, accelerates, head first slide. That's just an outstanding job from the senior from right here in Westlake.
He has 6 doubles on the year, Keith, already.
And that's just great hustle, and that's anticipating. You've got to think, too, on your first step out of the box. You can't say, hey, I got a base hit to drive in a run. Oh, I might get 2 out of it. Instead, you got to put your head down thinking, I'm going to be at second when the play is over.
Well, look how fired up Tres Barrera and the Texas bench was. Little plays like that can get your teammates going. 3rd double this series for Shaw. Coach Anderson's going to come out. He pitched for Minnesota in 1974 and joined Coach Siebert's staff in 75 when he was injured and has never left. Brian Glowicki, the righty, getting loose.
Now, this is one of those times that you go out, the bullpen probably may not be ready yet. A little bit of delay, and then you'll say, hey, I need to go to the bullpen.
That's going to be it for Dalton Sawyer, and not a bad effort for the junior left-hander. We'll give you the numbers on Glowicki when we get back.
Stephanie Wong.
Wong into left field.
Tierra Davis.
The Sawyer brothers, not Ken, Josh Sawyer, Dalton Sawyer. First Josh for Texas. He's been outstanding today. Had a good breaking ball and a nice job on the backdoor breaking ball. He comes back with a breaking ball here. Really has done it all. And Dalton Sawyer was really good. Early in the game, retired the first 7 batters he faced. Came up with strikeouts. Good electric stuff. You can tell this guy's going to be a good pitcher. Longhorns finally got to him in the 4th inning. Actually, the 3rd inning, they got a couple off of him. The base on balls has not hurt either one of them. Both of them really did a nice job. Right now, Josh Sawyer on top. Probably will be out of the ball game as we go to the top of the 6th. Texas now with a 3-0 lead.
Well, still here in the bottom of the 5th, obviously, because we got a pitching change. It'll be Brian Glowicki. I was thinking the same thing, actually.
Yeah, Glowicki, another young man that's got a good arm from Downers Grove, Illinois, another outstanding athletic community and high school area, the Chicagoland area. He's got a good arm. A lot of guys told me that have seen him throw before that they like him and his arm.
To center field. Play is made by Modal.
You know, Hossa can't hit a ball much harder than that right there. Hit it right on the button. But right at the center fielder.
It's kind of been the story for CJ early on in the year. He has hit the ball hard, but at people. This guy's hit the ball hard everywhere. And Hossa now 0 for his last 7. Tres Barrera is up, doubled his last time up, was stranded at 3rd. For a strike.
Glowicki's got to keep the ball down. He has a tendency to elevate at times. Pushes forward a little bit, but smooth and easy. The ball really does jump out of his hands.
to second. Schaefbauer is there. Texas is done, but they do add another run thanks to the senior from Westlake. Infield was in. Colin Shaw takes advantage. Texas leads 3-0. We've played 5 here in Austin. Texas leads Minnesota 3-0. Second game of a 4-game set and first game of the doubleheader. Hey, DirecTV customers, you can now watch Longhorn Network on Watch ESPN. You can catch your horns on the go anytime, anywhere. Glad to have DirecTV with us here at LHN. Gonna get a lot of good college baseball this spring. Josh Sawyer's day is done. A good one for him. He is in line for the win after going 5, and he's going to give way to freshman Connor Mays from right here in Austin. Went to Lake Travis High School.
He's got a good fastball, a good young right-hander. He's got good size, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's still working on trying to consistently get his breaking ball over. He's got a good fastball and an excellent changeup. And this is one of those situations where you want to get an inning out of him today, and then you give him all day tomorrow and all day Monday, which will be an off day, and then he'll probably come back and be the starting pitcher on Tuesday. But you would like to get some work out of him right here. And again, he's working on getting that pitch right there over the plate. He's got to consistently get that.
The changeup.
No, that was the breaking ball. His changeup's been good, but it's tough to live in college with just a fastball changeup. You need a breaking ball, something you can throw for a strike.
It's a big kid, like you said. And a Hosa. CJ's been very solid at short. Modal is retired for the first out. What else have you seen from number 19 that maybe why Skip likes him so much?
Well, I think first, just like Skip and I were talking about him before the game today, he says, yeah, I'd like to get an inning out of him today. We're going to work on throwing some breaking balls if we get him into the game. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more of those. He's got a fastball. He knows how to tail it. He may have to eventually figure out how to do a cutter, but he's got great arm motion and delivery of his changeup. There it is right there. He comes right back with it. And it's one of those that's hard to teach. There are certain guys that have that ability to throw a changeup and make it look like a fastball. He does that. But he's got to find a way to get his breaking ball consistently over the plate.
Texas pitching so far this series, 14 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 10 Ks.
Oh, really?
He's at 91.
Well, he's got all the fastball, the arm strength. That's not the question. And he's got a good resume, as we had on the screen earlier. And an excellent changeup, as you see right there.
Gets him to chase it for the second out.
Well, just great motion with this changeup this time. It looks like a fastball. His arm speed is just like a fastball, but the ball just comes out and dies. Excellent pitch from right here. It's what you see from behind the screen. See fastball. Oh, it's not. I'm there too quick.
2 outs for Matt Fiedler. Fiedler grounded to Marlowe in the first and also flied out to center. He's hit to right field. 2-out base runner for the Gophers.
Now, first pitch breaking ball, a good one for a strike. Then he comes right back with a fastball. Just didn't quite get it inside, left it up and out over the plate.
Misses there. Michael Handel, 0 for 2 today. A couple ground outs to Brett Boswell.
I think you go backdoor here with the fastball. You could see a change, though.
It's in on him. Cantu's going to give it a run and a slide, but no room. Good crowd out here today. It's getting better.
2 for the price of 1. People love a sale.
Why not?
Again, this is where the ability to throw your breaking ball right here. You throw a good breaking ball right now. It doesn't have to necessarily be a strike, but it just puts something else in the hitter's mind of what he may have to look for.
Lifted once again on the right field side. Shaw's going to run out of room. Minnesota has struggled, to say the least. 0 for 15 with runners on, 0 for 8, and they are in scoring position.
And this is the guy that is their leader right now. They've got to get him going. You said it earlier last night that he's the guy that offensively can really make them go.
Boswell, and for the 3rd time in this game, Handel grounds out to Boswell. Good inning from A's. Texas leads 3-0.
Longhorn Network is now on Watch ESPN. Watch your horns on the go, on your laptop, mobile, and tablet.
Touchdown, Texas!
Available on both iOS and Android devices.
Here is today's game summary, powered by the new Chevy Silverado. Josh Sawyer in line for the win. 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, did have 4 Ks. Dalton Sawyer, no relation, was excellent for Minnesota. Colin Shaw continues his hot streak. And Keith, we have a pretty close baseball game here, even though the series does feel like it's been all Texas.
It does feel like it's all Texas. Minnesota has been struggling with runners in scoring position. They have had some opportunities. They just haven't had that big hit so far in this series. So I feel like they're back in the ball game. There's going to be a lot of pressure on their defense and their pitching staff here if they don't find a way to get on the board. Almost halfway through this series, and they do not have an earned run yet offensively.
Only 2 runs, which they got last night in the 13-2 blowout. Marlowe will lead it off. Face Brian Glowicki, who's out for his first full inning of work.
No, came on. Reed was on a bike ride when I left.
Offensively, you want to stay in the game, though, if you're Texas right now. You're going to stay, just keep grinding away. There's a tendency sometimes when you controlled, it seems like you've been in control of a series, that you don't grind out at bats in the second half of a ball game.
Handle underneath it. And we've seen Texas do that even when they have been leading the last couple games. They've had good at-bats in blowouts late.
Yeah, they've scored a whole lot of their runs. I think we had a stat last night that more than 50% of the runs this season have come in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. You do that, you're going to win a lot of baseball games.
Here's Michael Cantu. Cantu finally facing some adversity in his college career. A couple of strikeouts today. Glowicki seems like a sinker slider type guy, and he likes to work low.
Got to get it down. When he gets in trouble, he gets the ball up.
Yeah.
If you're going to miss as a young pitcher, if you miss from the knees down, you're going to have a heck of a lot more success than you're missing from the belt up.
Catches corner for a strike. Glowicki's a sophomore from Downers Grove, Illinois.
Again, another outstanding baseball community in the suburb of Chicago.
They do a good job recruiting that area. Rolls this over. And two does not run very well, and Shefty took his time.
Nice play, though. Come set your feet. Come make the play. This rolls over the top, playing extremely deep. Knew right here, I have got a little time. Again, that's in that thinking position we were talking about earlier in the broadcast. As a defender, I think, all right, who's running? What's the scenario? Where am I going to go with the ball? Then you're in a ready position. Then you're in an active position. And once he knew that, he said, hey, I've got time. I can make sure I catch the ball, set my feet, and deliver the throw.
2 outs. Brett Boswell struck out and walked.
You have that same play with Ben Johnson. You got to know that I've got to get it and get rid of it to have any chance to get an out.
To left. It's slicing, and foul.
Just looking at Boswell now, obviously the 2014 campaign when he was redshirted with a wrist injury. Coming back from that, you can see how much stronger he is, though. I mean, the year on campus, you see it in all the sports, especially football, when you see guys with a red shirt. That 1 year on campus, that maturity from 18 to 19, and then the workout schedule and everything else you have here, you can see how much bigger and stronger that Brett Boswell is here in his redshirt freshman campaign.
You're right. One, two. It's underneath this. Shefty will give it a look. Another souvenir. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland here. Texas leading 3-0. One's got a 2 spot in the 3rd and a run in the 5th. Now 73 degrees on the big board. You can feel the northern
breeze coming in. It's right. James, it's not a full front at this point, but much different than it was earlier today.
Moto makes the play. 1, 2, 3 for Glowicki. Ronnie Gardenhire, he's got a connection with Minnesota and Texas. Played at Texas from 1978 to 1979, and the Mets from 81 to 85, and did a heck of a job, an underrated job as the Twins coach from 91 to 2001, and then as the manager from 2002 to 2014. That's when Ronnie really made his name. But how about the school record? 10 ribbies against Arkansas in 1978. He could hit a little bit.
Oh, he can hit a little bit. It's a good friend, known him a long time. He's really did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
When you look at Ron Gardenhire, he's the guy he replaced. He had worked with and Tom Kelly for a long time. Both of those guys were baseball in Minnesota. Their personalities, they fit into the really good players, managers, and everybody loved playing for Ron, and I wish him the best of luck, and I'm sure at some point he'll make his way back to Texas before too long.
I hope so. I hope we see him out at the dish. Did such a great job with Minnesota. It's going to be 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Gophers. Now the Gophers are going to be taking on in a little bit a former Minnesota All-American and Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, who now has that job taken over for Ron Gardenhire. They're going to take on the Gophers in spring training. That'll be pretty neat.
See it right there. John Anderson and Paul Molitor, teammates together, and now Paul, the manager of the Minnesota Twins.
4-pitch walk to Tony Shefty, not how Connor Mays wanted to start his second inning. We'll bring up Austin Athman.
So with that Brew Crew club that Paul Molitor was with, you're talking about some guys that could rake. It was a team that could hit. It started with Yount, Molitor, Cecil Cooper. Oof. Gorman Thomas.
Yeah, they could.
Oh, they could
rake.
The Brew Crew.
It's the first Minnesota leadoff guy to reach today. Let's see what the Gophers can do with it. It's in there for a strike after 5 straight balls.
Trying to watch young pitchers. How do they react under pressure? Bullpen is ready to go. Again, you don't want to go a long way with Mays. He had a pretty easy first inning of work. He will be pitching again on Tuesday more than likely. So this is one of those situations where you're trying to get him some work. You obviously got a lot of innings to go over the course of 5 days. You got 5 full games in 5 days, even with the off day Monday. So Skip Johnson, you got to think about that. I mean, yes, you want some days to work out, Kevin, where you don't, because a lot of schools will play Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to get their games in to get 56 games in the amount of time the NCAA allows you to get the games in. I would be the same way as Coach Garrido has done and play some double hitters on Saturday, where you can get that extra day to work out, because you need that day to work, and a lot of times Thursday's a travel day.
Right.
If they've got to travel to go play a conference series or a series on the road.
What kind of things do you work on that off day, like right now?
That's when you get an opportunity to go through the rundowns that you might see. You write down notes as a manager of everything that you saw that your team did not execute properly, and then you come back, and that gives you the day to go over those things.
Runner takes off. Mays looks at second. Will go to first for the first out.
Well, that's the hit and run that we talked about we would see a little bit out of the Gophers. That time, it just nice job by Mays. He looks at second, say, oh, no sense making that shot. Take my out at first. Give myself an opportunity to get out of the frame. We're going to have a pitching change.
That's going to be it for Connor Mays. Troy Traxler is the scheduled hitter for Minnesota. Well, Skip Johnson talks with his freshman right-hander. We welcome you inside the booth. Kevin Dunn alongside here with Keith Moreland. And well, Keith, you take a look at this Texas team, not as offensive today, but you've talked about the defense. The defense has been there, no errors, and the pitching, which may be the biggest question mark, has stepped up.
Well, I think the pitching's been very good. They've thrown a lot of strikes to this point. What I'm looking for now is watch depth. You start to see, what guy can plug into this motion, because I think as the season goes on, Skip Johnson would love to get in a situation where he can go lefty against a couple left-handers, and then in that inning go make a move and go to a right-hander to get the next couple of right-handers out. So I think they can go left, right, and get those last 9 outs of a ballgame. Not sure at this point, folks, that we know who the guy is that's going to get that last out, because you heard me say it. I've heard a lot of major league players say it. That 25th, 26th, and 27th out, hardest to get in baseball.
It's amazing how it is. We'll see if the freshman Kyle Johnston will get that shot. He looked good in his first opportunity against Rice. But as Kirby Bello warms up right now, think about it. If Kirby can give them the innings he gave in Houston, then you have legitimately 3 lefties to come off with Malman, obviously Ty Colbreth, and then you come with Kirby Bello. That's a nice option.
It is a nice option. I think there's some depth. I think you're going to have the opportunity to see some veteran guys get an opportunity along with the young arms. And that's what these games, that's why you're putting these games back to back, because you're going to ask guys to maybe get outside of their comfort zone, Kevin. In high school, they've been a starting pitcher.
Yep.
They knew they were going to get the ball once a week.
And the best one. And
the best on their team. Now, all of a sudden, you get into an environment where you're going to have to get out better hitters. And how am I going to fit into that? Am I a guy that can get one guy, or can I get an inning, or am I a guy that can go more than an inning?
Yeah.
So you got to look at what scenario and how everybody plugs in. There's a lot of good arms. They're just not names that Longhorn fans are going to know at this point.
But you think about some of the situational, if you will, left-handers or just relief pitchers Texas has had. Jessen Merle was a right-hander, but how about Eugene Espinelli, who gave them good innings? Buck Cody, I mean, guys that came in and maybe didn't pitch a lot, but could come in and find that role.
Right, and nobody really knows what the defined role is. You're looking right now. If you get an opportunity and get into a ball game, as Kirby Bellows into the game right here, hey, I just got to do my job right here, find where I fit into this ball club.
Bello in, now to face. Looks like we have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Jake Berggren.
A lefty-lefty matchup. Once he gets called into the game, that's why Skip Johnson allowed him to be announced, and then you can go to the bullpen. Bello really has changed his delivery and his style and worked through some injuries and some other things, and really has developed into a guy that has a really good curveball. Very difficult on left-handed hitters.
Looks a little bit like Austin Wood when he would come down. I know Wood had worked with Kirby a little bit. Appeal to third, does not go. Two and two. What do you come with here?
Well, I like the lefty-lefty matchup. I throw a 3-2. I throw a 2-2 and a 3-2 breaking ball. If the 2-2 doesn't go over, I come back with a 3-2 breaking ball. Take advantage of the matchup.
They go to it, and I guess that's why you caught in the big leagues for a long time. Out number two.
But you got to have that courage. You see so many young catchers who are calling a game, say, oh, 2-2, what am I going to do? Well, if I call a breaking ball here and he misses, I got to call a 3-2 fastball. If you're going to call it 2-2, got to have the courage to call it again 3-2.
Two outs. Tyler Hansen singled back in the fifth. One of the 4 Golden Gopher hits. Not a good looking cut. 0-2.
Really done a nice job of developing that breaking ball. He's going to be a factor. I don't think we probably thought at the beginning of the year that it wasn't a name that you thought was going to be a factor, but I think he's going to be a factor as the season goes on.
Goes back to the breaking ball, lifted in the infield. CJ's going to call off Marlowe. And Kirby Bello comes in and looks impressive.
Bottom of the 7th inning here from the capital of Texas. Keith Moreland and Kevin Dunn with you. 3-0, as you can see there, Texas. And Kevin, one of the things that you always do when you come to the ballpark, it's about having some fun.
Of course.
Cotton Eye Joe plays here at UFCU Disch-Falk Field. Texas trying to win game 2 of this 4-game set. We'll have another game for you later. I wouldn't say this afternoon. It's early evening at this point.
What an atmosphere out here today, though. You and I have talked about the Dish back in the day, and it seemed like
it's a great crowd here today.
It was always a place to be, and you get a little bit of that feel here today. Longhorns leading 3-0. They got 2 in the bottom of the 3rd, 1 in the 5th. Josh Scheuer went 5, did not give up any runs. Connor Mays came on, and then was relieved by Kirby Bello, who did a nice job. Texas will come with 8, 9, and 1. Gerwitz, Baker, and Johnson due to hit. Upstairs. I like a lot of things about Zane as a baseball player, but he definitely shows his courage and security when he has the Pina Colada blaring as his walk-up song.
He's one of those guys that can play so many different positions. He's so valuable to a ball club. As a freshman, did an outstanding job at third base. Now, as a sophomore, has moved into center field, allowed the veteran left fielder and right fielder to stay in their position at this point.
He allows you to do a lot of different things because of his versatility.
It's been off to a slow start, but anticipated him to have a very good offensive year as well.
He's on that. What adjustment did you make, if any, when you fouled the ball off like that? You knew you were close.
If I fouled it straight back, I'm just hoping I can get another pitch, because that's usually the pitch that you always, as a hitter, tell yourself, no matter who's pitching, I'm going to get one pitch in this at bat to hit. I can't miss it.
He didn't miss that. Back up the middle for a leadoff base runner.
You make a mistake up, good hitters are going to make good contact. And again, this is a ball upstairs above his belt, gets on top of it, drives it right back through the box, especially with 2 strikes. And Zane Gerwitz will, with 2 strikes, think the other way. He doesn't think pull in that situation. You make a mistake up, he's usually going to hit it hard.
Brings up the true freshman Joe Baker from McKinney. Baker getting the start at DH and got his first hit as a Longhorn.
Well, he's walked and scored, singled and scored.
Will do. One of the points you brought up, one of the reasons this Texas lineup has been so tough is that it's not 1 through 5, it's 1 through 9. Not bunting, swinging away.
3-0 in bottom of the 7th. You got a team that's really done a nice job of swinging the bat as the season has progressed here. I just don't think you're going to see the bunt as much as we've seen it in the past. Now, if you go into a little slump as a team, you might see more of it at that point. It's like, I always use a football reference. Are you a running football team? Well, you don't have to be a running football team to win, but you've got to be able to run in the 4th quarter when you have the lead.
Right.
You know?
But with this offense, too, like you said, 3-0 in the 7th. Is 4-0 that much better than if we can get 3 and just end it?
I always want to be where one swing of the bat can't beat me. So 4 is a better number.
Swing and a miss. So a strikeout for Baker.
I like this little right-hander.
Yeah.
Again, just looking at some of the reports I've seen, said you're going to like him when you see him, and you do like him. He's got to keep the ball down. When he gets the ball at the knees, he's got some good stuff. The ball jumps up on you, very loose. Every team's got future. It's great to see futures for everybody.
Yeah.
See these young guys that come in.
That's why so many of us that are attracted to college sports, and in this case college baseball, is you just see an amount of growth from 18 to 22 you just don't see at many other ages. We've seen that with Ben Johnson as he's continued to play more baseball and get more comfortable with it. 1 for 3 today. To first, no play at second, but there are 2 outs. Gerwitz now in scoring position for Colin Shaw. Shaw hit his 3rd double of the series and 6th of the year back in the 5th inning.
Well, this is one of those scenarios where C.J. Hinojosa is a good hitter, and you'd hate to put the game away, but if I'm Coach Anderson right here, this is one of those scenarios where I'm being very careful. I don't throw anything within the zone. If I miss a couple times, I might just walk him and try to go after Hinojosa. Now, C.J. can hurt you in that scenario, maybe put the game away, but you're still in the game right here. Yeah, you've got to find a way. You can't surrender anymore at this point. That's why they make the big bucks. He went right after it. That's just, I'm always thinking of the game scenario in my mind right here. Yes, you hate the intentional walk, is a lot of managers don't believe in it. You know, I'm not going to pitch around this guy. You got to make good pitches to everybody. Well, I like righty-righty matchup better than I like a righty-lefty matchup to a hitter that's got 6 doubles already and one of the hottest hitters in the country in Colin Shaw.
And that righty's 0 for his last 7.
Right.
0-2 to Shaw. Fair ball down the line. Well, Keith, the at-bat wasn't over with. I don't think Coach Anderson would pitch to him again. It's 4-0 Texas. Another double for Colin Shaw. 4 on the weekend.
Just an excellent job of hitting. Ball looks like a balloon right now. Front side gets down. Everything's compact. Very good low ball hitter is Colin Shaw. His swing is for a pitch that goes from the knees down. That's where he really drops the head on the bat of him and just rips it into the corner. Second double of the ball game. Second ribby of the game. Well, he has had a great start to his senior campaign.
And here's that 4th run. Swinging the bat now by Minnesota. Can only tie this thing. Here is Hinojosa. Cue ball shot. It's going to roll foul. You seeing anything from CJ at the plate? Maybe he needs to iron out.
Well, first of all, you'll gain some confidence. That's, you know, hitting's about confidence. Right now, he's not as confident offensively. And the second part of that is front shoulder, and that's what CJ fights. You know, all of us, I at times had the same problem. You try to get both eyes on the ball, and your left shoulder comes off the ball right here. This shoulder will pull away from the ball, and when that happens to you, a lot of times you have a tough time. Bat starts to drag through the zone instead of pops through the zone.
CJ asking, they're going to call that a foul ball. It's 0-2. Feel a little of the frustration on his face.
As he comes through right there, did that ball hit him in the elbow? Could have. Could have grazed that back elbow right there. Did not catch a piece of the bat. It counts even at 1-1.
Yeah, I thought he had said called the strike. He actually just called time, so it is 1-1. CJ was asking whether he got hit or not. Ryan Russ thought better of that one down there. Coaching first base. He's done an excellent job. He's got a little smile.
You can see him right there. No. That's where you get a fingernail ripped back.
Right. He works with the hitters. Oh, 2 to Hinojosa. He will pull his hips and yank it.
Well, a lot of times when you are coming off the ball a little bit offensively, the only place that you really get the barrel to the ball is inside, because your front's coming off and the barrel's coming across. It's more of a C shape. You know, as a hitter, for young hitters, you want to have a more linear swing. I'll try to explain that as after this pitch.
0-2 to Hinojosa. Watch out. He ends up flinging the bat where he usually plays defense, and Colin Shaw is going to bring it back to CJ.
Picture in your mind, if you're a young hitter or you're thinking about hitters, he's fooled here and just throws the head of the bat at the ball. Does get a piece of it. If you're rotating around, you're making a C shape. Your swing becomes a C-shaped pattern. A linear swing is more like a check mark. It goes all the way out through the zone and then comes back. So that's the picture, what you would see from looking down from above if you had a camera right over the top of home plate.
Makes sense. 5 straight foul balls from Hinojosa. Lays off of that one. It's 1-2.
And if your front shoulder's coming off of the ball, the only thing you can do is have a rotational swing, and rotational means a C-shaped swing,
right,
where it's just going in a complete circle rather than going out through the baseball.
1-2. Lace back up the middle. Watch out. Coming home to score is Shaw. It's 5-0 Texas.
Got a pitch up that time. Really nice job. Stayed in here. Watch that front shoulder come right to the baseball. And that's the difference right there. And I'm telling you, that's scary. Get out of the way. The Longhorns have broken this thing wide open.
Texas outscoring their opponents now 28-2 from the 7th inning on.
That's two things that does for you. One, says a lot about your offense. Also says a lot about your pitching staff.
Yes, it does. Strike one to Barrera. Trace hit a couple line shots. Also has a double. He's 1 for 3. He's been using that outside corner.
Just hadn't been able to put hitters away. He's been able to jump out in front.
Swing and a miss, and Barrera is out. Texas is done here in the 7th, but they tack on a couple more. Colin Shaw, the double king, another one, the 4th double of the weekend for number 4. Texas leads 5-0 after 7. Welcome back. A couple volleyball players in the house. Paulino Prieto Cereme, Pilar Victoria. Excellent athletes. They play for a top 5 program. Jared Elliott's volleyball team. They've been living in the Final Four. Now watching fellow student athletes. Texas baseball team taking on Minnesota. They lead 5-0 right now. We head to the 8th inning. Kirby Bella will be out for another inning of work. And hey, it's Club Dish. Got a DJ out here. Kids getting into the music.
Can you spin the disc, man?
You mean spin the record? Can I spin? No, I can't.
Okay.
Actually, one of my good friends, Malik, who I did the Real World show with, he spins for a living, and he tried to teach me. And after 5 minutes, he said, "You're not cut out for this."
I don't need to buy any more needles.
Well, I just don't like ruining the records. Here's Jordan Smith. Jordan's gotten a lot of action out in left field. He's done a good job defensively. Looking for his first hit today. Boy, how big would this be for Skip Johnson to get some innings out of Kirby Bello this year? Senior from Nederland.
He's told you and I both, he says, I really feel like I've got a lot of different arms that I can use. It's just that who are those guys that are going to step up?
I think that's the question, Keith. And Skip has proven his resume speaks for itself. If you give him just a couple arms, he can make a staff out of it. About his first couple years, Joseph Krebs, who was a good. They didn't have a lot of arms, and Skip made it work.
Well, you got to find a way to plug in, and then the other part of that is finding a way to fit them in. Where do they fit? Where are they comfortable? And where are you comfortable going and putting them into a situation? Because you got to get comfortable with them as much as they got to get comfortable with what spot they're in and what role they fit. You also have to have that faith and courage that they can do the job in that role, in that situation.
Interesting point there. This is hit to right. Shaw. I'll let that play in front of him. So a hit for Smith and a leadoff base runner. Interesting point, though, Keith, because I think most fans would look at that. I know I would look at that and think, okay, well, the pitcher needs to be comfortable. Well, the guy who's putting him in needs to be as comfortable doing it.
Right. You're going to try to put each player in a role that benefits him and the team. But the last part of that is, am I comfortable in this situation having this guy on the mound?
Snap throw. Travis Jones, who is just checked in at first. They're very high on this young man. Struggled at Rice. Game was a little too quick for the freshman. Mumble, but they think his potential is huge. Dan Modal. Modal was struck out, singled, and also grounded to C.J. Hinojosa back in the 6th inning. To left, Johnson underneath it for the first out. Texas bullpen is up. A couple guys throwing. Does not look like they're too serious. Jake McKenzie, 51, should be warm now, and that is Kyle Johnston, the flame-throwing freshman right-hander from Flower Mound. Kendall Rogers of D1Baseball.com had him at 96 in the 9th or the 10th in the Sunday game at Rice.
That's rarefied air when you get into that category.
At 18?
Yeah.
You're right about that. In their 4th strike. Minnesota 1 through 4 hitters today are 2 for 13, and they have 4 strikeouts. Connor Schaefbauer has 3 of those. It's been a tough day as he's taken the hat trick. Going for the sombrero, which would be 4.
Lefties sometimes would rather see anything but a left-hander. Did a nice job staying on that breaking ball that time. You could tell he was thinking about it. And you miss with a 1-1 breaking ball or a 2-1 breaking ball. Now all of a sudden he's going to be sitting on one thing, and that's a fastball, and it evens out that lefty-lefty matchup.
He got the fastball, but not able to do much with it. Boswell is going to give way to Hinojosa, who's got to go a long way. CJ makes the play for the 2nd out. Well, the wind has kind of picked up now from right to left, Keith, and that's, you always talk about that. You got to look up pitch to pitch.
Yeah, and it's much different than when they took infield earlier in the game. You got to understand all of a sudden, hey, this ball's not carrying anymore. It's coming back toward the field of play. The wind really pushed that into foul territory. CJ kept his head up.
Great shot from our crew. Those flags have been blowing all directions and then quiet and then blowing another direction.
Now, it will be a much different day here at the Dish tomorrow afternoon. Bundle up.
Unless you're from Minnesota, and it'll feel great.
Well, it probably will. Minnesota has not had a base hit with a runner on base in the series to this point. They're 0 for 21 and 0 for 11 today. Hard to win a ball game when that's happening.
John Anderson will have 6 start the season with 6 straight weekends on the road. They're going to head to Florida next weekend. Got swept by a top 10 Houston club last weekend. Only got out hit 25-21. There were some measurements in the series that showed that Minnesota played pretty well, even though they had nothing to show for it. Appeal, no.
Well, they allowed nearly 50 base runners, and that's where they struggled a little bit. I mean, offensively, they didn't get the big hits when they needed them. Let's see if he check his swing here. It's a tough call. I don't believe the barrel crossed the plate right there. That's the toughest call for an umpire there is.
Runner takes off. I get the feeling Coach Anderson's just really trying to do anything right now to get something going.
Create some energy. Have your dugout. Get some excitement. Have a little celebration.
Snap throw. Barrera has been doing that a lot from his knees. How often did you implement that as a catcher?
Well, it's easy to first base. The ones that are impressive are the guys that can can go the other directions from that, because your momentum's carrying that way. You just drop on your right knee, and it allows you to go forward. It's something you do have to practice, though, because so many times when people drop down on one knee, they throw the ball dead into the ground.
Runner takes off. It doesn't matter. Kirby Bello gets the strikeout. Texas coming up in the 8th. 5, 6, and 7 are due up, looking for a little insurance, but Kirby Bello's doing the job right now for the Horns. Don't forget, the series against Minnesota continues this weekend right here on Longhorn Network. We have one more game tonight, about 45 minutes after the conclusion of this game. Then again on Sunday, the finale at 1 Central. We hope you tune in. It's Longhorn baseball, and it's all weekend long right here on Longhorn Network. Welcome back, Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland. Great day to play 2 here at the Dish. Texas leads 5-0 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Jordan Jess is going to come on, another big pitcher. Do they have any pitcher that's not 6'3" or 200?
Well, I tell you what, they love that size. As you said, he's a 6'3". Don't know a whole lot about him. He got into one ball game last weekend, as you can see right there. Pitched an inning, walked a batter, struck out a batter. You want to get as many guys the opportunity to get out there. Just into the game right here.
Got a new right fielder as well. Alex Boxwell is going to come in, the talented freshman. Started in right last night. I think he's going to be a really good offensive player when it's all said and done for the Gophers. But Jess now coming on just to try and see if he can get his club another shot and make sure that it's at 5-0. Arlo 0 for 2 today, does have a sacrifice. Couple pop-ups to the shortstop handle.
Little cutter right there. Lights do come on here.
The wind has really picked up and now is blowing straight in.
It's going to be a pitcher's night. First 2 ball games have been hitters' days. The wind has either been still or blowing dead straight out.
You think McKenzie comes in the 9th, or do you stay with Kirby Bello?
You know, I think at this point, again, you're still trying to think about it. You still have 28 innings to go between now and end of Tuesday night's game, and with your staff. And
ring him up. Nice pitch.
And a 5-0 lead. I would not be surprised to see Bello go back into the game. You can see this good breaking ball right here. Just freezes Marlowe. Comes back to the inside corner. It's one of those where, oh, right there, you know it. You just turn, take a walk. And you're thinking, how did I just take that? That's the first thing that goes through your mind.
Here's Travis Jones getting his first at-bat of the series. Travis, a big kid, true freshman. Played shortstop mainly in high school, but has tried to adjust to first base. Still a work in progress.
Again, trying to slow the game down is sometimes it gets fast on young hitters too, and it's not that he hasn't seen good pitching before and that type of thing. It's just it's a mindset, another reference point, and that confidence.
One, two. I want to apologize to our viewers if you guys have had any technical difficulties or audio issues. We are working on that. Try and get that figured out. 2-2, able to stay alive on that pitch. Just standing next to Augie when he watches Jones and BP, you can tell when Augie really likes someone, and he feels like it's in there. He's just got to, he needs more reps. Getting him here.
Always felt like the taller you are as a hitter, the more you really have to concentrate on keeping that front hip down and in. Take a great hitter here for a long time, Kyle Russell, really struggled for a little bit to understand to keep that front side down. Guys of 6'3", 6'4" stature have a tendency to come off the ball if they don't keep that front side in there.
To short, Handel makes the play. There's 2 outs. Drew Stubbs is another guy who played with Kyle at 6'4", and something that he always had to focus on. Handel's been solid at short. It's been a clean game, no errors. 5 hits for Minnesota, 8 for Texas. Boswell still looking for his first hit today. To left field. Smith has had a bunch of action. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Last chance coming up for Minnesota.
The universe.
As we started the ball game, one of the things that I felt like were key is Minnesota needed to score early. And they haven't got on the board yet. Texas pitching's been outstanding. They did a nice job of throwing strikes, a much better ratio. 128 pitches in today's ball game, 80 of them in the strike zone. So they did that part of it. For Texas, they got to keep on getting on it. 7 of 9 players have reached base, and it was a big start. I felt like for Josh Sawyer, boy, he did an outstanding job. 5 shutout innings, struck out 4. So those are the keys to the game. We'll get to see a young, hard-throwing right-hander here in the 9th for Texas.
Yeah, Kyle Johnston, 6 foot, 202-pound freshman from Flower Mound, went to Flower Mound High School. He brings gas. What else does he bring, Keith?
Well, he's got a good slider to go with it, but first and foremost, he pitches with the fastball. But you still got to, you can't pitch in the middle of the zone. One of the things he's going to have to learn, even as hard as he throws, is you got to pitch to the corner, inside and the outside corner of the plate. But this is a good fastball right here.
94 and easy.
And easy at 94. It will touch 97 at times. And it is a good live fastball, but you still got to learn to hit the corners and when to use his breaking ball.
Facing Michael Handel, 95 and outside. Handel 0 for 3. He's grounded to Brett Boswell every time he's been up. It's 0 for 7 in the series.
Still got to work on his tilt. I mean, even though you're a hard thrower, there's still some things you're going to watch when he gets back right here. See if he has a good tilt. It will be a tilt that leaned back a little bit. It allows him to, that time was better, but it allows him to get back where he can make the rotation from front to back. You don't want to tuck it under. You want that tilt to be up and then rotate straight over the top and head toward the plate.
I think Handel will be taking a strike here. He is, but it's low, so leadoff walk. Bring up Tony Shefty. Oh, Keith, this stuff is impressive, but this is only his 2nd collegiate appearance.
Well, you're right. And his first one, pretty good one.
Yeah.
in crunch time.
At Rice and got the save, got a strikeout. Shefty does have a hit. And lined. This is going to be 2. Boswell to Travis Jones. And a quick double play. Shefty hit it on the nose, though.
Yeah, he did hit this ball right on the button. Fastball tailing in on him. Boswell right there. That's the reaction right here. Boom. Right there. Almost knocks him down. Backs up. Has time. Makes an accurate throw across the diamond for 2.
Bench loving it. Texas an out away from taking game number 2 in this series. Hackman, the last chance here for Minnesota. Don't forget, about 45 minutes after this one, we've got the 2nd game of this doubleheader. Tim Shannon and Chad Hollingsworth, the expected starters. Texas a strike away. The 0-2 comes with the fastball. Marlowe's going to have to hurry it. He does, barehands it, and makes the play. Unbelievable way to finish this game. Keith, I didn't think they had a shot.
Well, this is a dynamite play. He knew he had to catch and go at the same time, falling down, and a nice pick by Jones on the backside of it to secure the victory. This is a really nice effort by Marlowe. Comes to gets it, lays his body up. But how about the reaction by Jones to go get the one-hop throw? Didn't anticipate, didn't go too quickly. Good play to end the game.
Yeah, nice job. You're right, by Jones, who had come in and is working on playing first. Looked like a shortstop there, backhanded that. And Texas wins it 5-0. 8 hits, no errors for the Longhorns. 5 hits, no errors for Minnesota. A clean game, and both Sawyers pitched very well.
They did exactly what we anticipated. A good start for Josh Sawyer. Dalton Sawyer was impressive. The Longhorns continue offensively to get the hits when they need to get the hits.
Yeah, they have been. We'll see if Texas offense can continue in game number 2. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back to wrap up game number 1 when we get back. Welcome back. It's a final. Texas defeats Minnesota 5-0. 8 hits, no errors for the Longhorns. 5 hits, no errors for Minnesota. We welcome you inside the booth here. Kevin Dunn alongside Keith Moreland. Keith, we came on talking about offense. The Texas offense did their job, but it was the pitching and defense that was the story.
Well, in this series, Texas has not given up an earned run. 18 innings of no earned runs. They gave up 2 earned runs last night. Josh Sawyer was, again, outstanding. He was able to throw strike 1. He was able to have better mound presence than we saw last week down at Rice. I really felt like he did a nice job of adapting, getting out of trouble in the second inning. From that point on, he really controlled, did a nice job. 80, a little right at 80 pitches in his outing. But one of the keys to today's game was, again, the offense found a way to get on the board early in the game, sort of changed the momentum of the game.
Got on early, and Sawyer was excellent for Texas. Josh Sawyer didn't have the start he wanted in Houston. What was the difference today?
Well, I think early in the game he was able to use his fastball, but as the game progressed, his mound presence got better. He started using his breaking ball, and he did really step up when they had runners in scoring position. Minnesota 0 for 23 in the series with runners on base, 0 for 13 in today's ballgame.
Yeah, and you take a look at offensively, Colin Shaw once again continues to show he's going to have a breakout senior year. Look at the doubles. He already has 4 doubles this series.
Well, and the thing he's doing with it is against left-handed pitchers. This is a hustling double right here where he drove it into the gap. He was thinking, too, as soon as he left the base. But right here is an open base. Knows he's not going to get a fastball, gets a changeup, stays back, stays inside it with an open base and a man in scoring position. He is off to an outstanding start. This offense as a whole, it's been really good, especially runners in scoring position. And the other part, with 2 outs, they've done a nice job of finding ways to score runs.
Shaw was down in that count 0-2. I'll give you credit. Even 0-2, you said, I don't know why they're pitching with righty-righty, guy 0 for 7 on deck. Go ahead and get the force out, all that. Colin Shaw makes him pay. Let's go ahead and spin this forward. What should we look for tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Chad Hollingsworth for Texas steps forward. He's the guy that's also looking to be one of those weekend-type starters. He fit in a lot of different roles for Texas over the last couple of years. He did not pitch well. He really probably went an inning longer than he should have in Houston, but he pitched from behind. He didn't have the control. He's going to face Tim Shannon. We don't know a lot about Shannon except that he throws the ball with enough velocity he can get the ball by you, but he's got to throw strikes. He struggled with his pitch count because it got up quickly on him because he couldn't keep the ball in the strike zone.
That's going to be important to throw strikes. We can't wait for game number 2 of the doubleheader. Game 3 of the series. Once again, our final score, Texas 5, Minnesota nothing. Be sure to join us for our first pitch. It is at 6:30. 6:30 will be the first pitch for game 3 of this series. Coming up next, The Dish. We'll be back for more baseball in just a bit. See you then.